Thank you so much. I can see we have 25 minutes and now it's not 45. So we'll sum up. We'll play a T20 here. So the topic is tech for good, and this conversation sits at the intersection of innovation, sustainability, and impact. I think we don't need to reiterate that how much tech has interfered with our daily lives. It's a given. But it's not about what it can do now. Now it is what it should do. I think it's already done a lot. So we have a great expert panel who bring across industries. I mean, there are three industries with me: engineering, electronics, and digital governance sitting here. And we will talk about how sustainable and socially impactful technologies are no longer fence ideas that sit on fence, but pillars that we need to move ahead with. So let me start with you first, Mr. Sagar, starting with you here. Tech for good. The good part is only about the convenience, or is it more than that? How do you see tech for good in its true sense?
Thanks, Ruhail. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. For me, anything
Are you able
that
to
has
hear
to be
him?
good in India, it has to serve a purpose, serve a need. And what is the biggest need in India? The biggest need in India is job creation. So can technology create jobs? All along, right? That's what I have looked at. Technology does not have to be frightening. Because if you look at technology today, technology is democratized. There was a time when we looked at computers, they were no entry on, you can enter only if you are an IT person. Very simple technology where the jobs from the US were brought to India, processed and sent back. It created jobs in India at the lowest level of people who were normally unemployable, graduates from B-class colleges. So to me, technology is good if it can create jobs. It's not good if it cannot create jobs.
Wonderful. Thanks for making it so simple, such a complex thing, and ideating it so well. Mr. Chaudhary, I just want to ask audience this quick question. Is it the private sector or the public sector that has really disrupted the public tech that has disrupted daily lives? What do you think? Public sector, how many? Okay, they are not interested. Okay, anyway, I would like you to answer this, that we often associate tech with private sectors and private players, Apple and Google, but there's another version of it. The public sector is actually disrupting the tech game and making it accessible to all of you, to all of us. What are the priority sectors, first of all, that you're working on? And how do you see this tech that it has divided and brought down the digital divide that that India had earlier?
Yeah, thanks. And I'm very happy that I've been at this event. Now, first of all, I'd like to dwell on this, what is the importance of this session? This is the second last session today. What is the importance? Why do we need to have this session? Now, I'm coming from Bangalore. Anybody from Bangalore here? No one? Okay. So, now Bangalore is known as, today it's a IT hub. Sometime back it used to be known as the Garden City. But let me tell you that I've been staying there for 4 years. I'm a Delhiite, but I'm staying there for the 4 years. I would rather call it as Bangalore as a city of lakes. You'll be amazed that how many lakes. And of course, the present state gives us a lot of disappointment. And to dwell on this fact that why do we need sustainability, I'd just like to bring to your notice a small incident which happened. The lakes in Bangalore have made news for various reasons. One lake caught fire. A lake catching fire.
That's innovation, yes.
So now this lake, it came in news for a different reason. So this lake was full of hyacinths. So they put a speedboat, a water boat called Jal Dost, I think here we know what is Jal Dost. For my friend here from Belgium, Jal Dost is a friend of the water. So they put this Jal Dost in the water, and the kind of garbage, rubbish they extracted is amazing. But I would like to ask you, what do you think they got from the bottom of the lake? What do you think, which will really amaze all of us, and which will also, make us think that why sustainability is important? What do you think was fished out from the bottom of the lake? Any guesses, quick guesses? We just have very little time. What do you think was fished out from the bottom of the lake, which will amaze us?
Plastic.
Yeah? Yes? Okay, somewhat similar, but you'll be amazed that a refrigerator was fished out from the bottom of this lake. And this is actual news. And that's why sustainability is so important for us. It is the least we need to do is we need to give the planet back to our succeeding generations the way we have got it from our forefathers. So that's the way I look at it. And this difference of public sector and private sector, we are a public sector company, and as you would have noticed, we write national against our name. And today, as far as the IT infrastructure is concerned, many of us will be aware most of the IT infrastructure is national in nature. It is created by public sector entities. And our mantra, our motto is to bring sustainability for all, for public sector, for private sector, for the common citizens, for financial inclusion. And how do we do it? So, I was discussing with my friend from Belgium as how complex contracting in India is, because we have 30 states with its own state stamp acts. So today we brought it all together under one single platform. For 30 states, contracting can be done. And what is the beauty of this platform? It is digital, paperless at every stage, at execution, during storage, and above all, when you are retrieving it for legal records or for any kind of reference for audit, acquisition, etc. So what is the advantage? Advantage is that you don't need to travel to a place of execution. You save on fuel cost, you save on paper, because digital at every stage. You save on the storage cost of security documents and all the necessary infrastructure which is required to do that. Now, there's another aspect to it. Before we launched our platform of digital at every stage contracting, we found that many organizations, I think some of you would also be doing, that security documents you'd be scanning and keeping it. Is the mic there? So scanning a document takes up a lot of disk space, computing space also to retrieve. But if it's a digital document, every type of compute capacity, whether it's retrieve capacity or storage capacity, everything is optimized. So that is a massive saving. And finally, I would say this sustainability cost comes at no extra cost. This digital contracting solution, which we provide, and agnostic to all sectors. And today, if you see the adoption of our contracting, it is agnostic to public sector or private sector. The public sector, private sector, the adoption is almost equal. And the beauty of it is that this sustainability not just contributes to the environment, but also it comes at no extra cost. Today, corporates are willing to invest that extra capital, extra profits to ensure sustainability. But the contracting solution, NES's DD, which we do, comes at no extra cost. Right. And as per our estimate, we have found that till date, we have saved more than 35,000 trees till date. That is the cost of paper, and other costs like the cost saving, of course, we are not accounting for right now.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for elaborating and giving that great example. And it also shows, how much work has tech done in terms of creating a real impact. I want to bring in Captain Achat here. First of all, sir, how do you define this tech for good idea? And second, how are you embedding sustainability into your tech offerings overall, or the digital transformation journeys that you are enabling?
Right. I think Debajyoti gave us a good national view into this particular topic. I'll sort of take it international. World Economic Forum has, I don't know what they call it, a channel of discussion or a working group or a task group, I'm not sure what they call it, which is actually titled Tech for Good. And they've actually been debating about this and defining what it actually means over, I think about 3-4 years right now. Some pretty good articles are also available out there. So what they've done is they've actually come out with, rather than my definition, I will use what's already there from World Economic Forum themselves. So they're saying, so there's a kind of a quadrant which says, you know, how do you maximize the benefits, minimize the impact? I think the other one was improve efficiency and something else on the other side. So they say that, you know, if you're able to balance these things out, that is exactly what the definition of the tech for good is going to be. And then there's a whole lot of discussion about how do we go about doing that, you know, achieving better benefits, reducing the impact, and so on and so forth. Very, very good set of articles which are available. I think it's a good read also. And I sort of realized very recently that there is actually something called a Tech for Good Institute also, which is there in Southeast Asia. So I think in Singapore, it's based in Singapore. They're actually doing a lot of work specifically in this space. They've also put out quite a lot of work that these guys have done. Quite a lot of good articles are also available there. What I found interesting in those articles were there's a lot of things that, even though they have looked at it at a community angle, at a social angle and things like that, as an organization, there's a lot of things that you can derive from it and, you know, do within your own organization. Now coming back to what we have done, or the second part of your question, which was what have we done in our organization, I sort of classified into two things again. One is what we do and sell as a product to a customer, or a solution to a customer, and what we do internally. We are into conveyor belt servicing and maintenance, things like that. Most of the time we're carrying dirty cargo. Could be a coal, could be cement, could be a clinker, could be iron ore, could be bauxite, it could be anything. It's dirty cargo, basically, that we convey on those systems. So there's a lot of pollution that happens during the conveyance. There's a lot of wastage that happens because of the dust flying out and things like that, which impacts the environment. So we've got solutions, and we are helping customers, A, reduce the pollution per se, and B, also retrieve that whatever is dust which is there, which actually is usable. When it actually goes into a furnace and things like that, it's definitely usable. Right. So we sort of help them with that. As far as our internal activities are concerned, something from as, for an organization of this size, as big as, going in for an IoT, which effectively helps us with our production planning processes, and also helps us with our boiler utilization and all those kinds of things. Even down to the last level, where we very recently realized that, for example, in one floor of our office, we were spending about 6 or 7 reams of paper every day. We were that kind of an organization. No? Everything would get printed out, people would write and come for a discussion and things like that. Today it's down to about 1 ream or something a day. So that's an impact that we have made. That didn't happen by just going and telling people and telling them that this is good for the environment and things. We actually enable them, train them on using Teams, train them on using digital dashboards like this, and all those kind of things, because of which the usage on its own came down. So people started printing less and started using the digital media much more. So that's a range of things that we can do, and anything in between is also. Quite a lot of things are there, but I'm just touching upon the bigger aspect and the smaller part of it also.
I'll just intervene briefly. I'm happy, Raghu, you talked about how paper is getting reduced, because that's the mantra. But the good part is that, right now, although paper has disappeared, like you have taken this initiative to remove paper. But the challenge today is that as far as contracting is concerned, as far as legal issues are concerned, unfortunately, bulk of it is still on paper. And our legal guys always like to see it on paper, but today the government has taken many enabling legislations to ensure that this paper is not required. For example, the IT Act provides that evidence can be acceptable in digital form, also subject to certain conditions. And as an IT platform and a company which writes national against our name, we certify all documents which are executed on our platform that they are valid and legal and enforceable in a court of law in India.
Yes, it's an irony that the law which proposes to reduce the use of paper is on paper, right? Mr. Sagar, when we talk of tech for good, you have created a platform, Criconet, right? Tell us more about it. How are you changing and impacting lives with this new venture?
There are three things which are very popular: politics, religion, and cricket. Politics and religion, everybody has got equal access to get in. Cricket is little restricted. So persons can have access to it only above a certain level. So we said, let's look at use technology to get jobs through cricket. That means use skill building of people who are generally not employable. Previously we did 20 years ago, we did educated, unemployable people. Now we said, look at uneducated, unemployable people. So all over the place, people from very different kind of backgrounds, right, in different towns can get coaching. In India, we have one coach for 1,000 people, which is a very, very poor ratio. So we said, let us use technology to create distant coaching. That means a player and a coach don't have to be in the same location. And we use technology to do e-coaching, where the coach and the player can be one-to-one and get one-to-one coaching. Now, having done that, how do we get people in smaller towns recognized? So we are creating a national database of skills. That means players in small towns, their games are recorded onto this national database, right? And then this database is being made available to talent scouts and other coaches. So coaches can see people in smaller towns and say, oh, this boy has got potential. Let's bring him into, say, Delhi, or let's bring him into Bombay and give him proper coaching, and he can play for India. Similarly, the talent scouts can say, well, this guy looks good, I can take him for my IPL. Now, if you actually look at India today, right, you'd be amazed that a normal player plays, there are about 10,000 matches going on. There are over 20 professional leagues, cricket leagues in the India, like IPL, but restricted to small towns. Then this is only for white ball. There are also rubber ball, tennis ball cricket, etc. Then there are Ranji Trophy cricket. So a normal B-class player has opportunity to make 1 lakh per year, 1 lakh per month playing cricket. But he needs to be identified, coached, and nurtured. So this is what we are using technology to do this in a thing called Criconet. We're also creating a community of cricket lovers on Criconet.
Wonderful. I think that's a wonderful example of how tech is actually doing the good that it should do. Mr. Chaudhary, you deal with so many sectors, and the scale is tremendous. The kind of infrastructure demands, the reach has to be immense. Are there any challenges that you face while building those tech layers?
The biggest challenges in India, we often think of that we have done a certain thing in a certain manner yesterday. So why do we want to do things differently? So when we launched our digital contracting platform, so one issue was that any change, so that is viewed a bit, initially there's a bit of skepticism about it. And also we are essentially looking into legal documents. So that's why it requires a lot of close examination. But I'm happy to say that we did face a lot of challenges in the initial days, but we were able to surmount all of them. The idea is that the area which we are doing, contract execution, so that is a very sensitive area. So today when we execute contracts, the objective is that the contract should be enforceable. So that's why we go to great lengths to ensure that whatever we execute on our platform will be actually be legally enforceable, will serve the purpose for which it was created. And I'd just like to briefly touch upon, I think we're running short of time, I'll touch on Mr. Sagar's point about remote coaching. But today we have remote document execution. And my friend Mr. Babbitt, I think from Flanders, is here. And just to tell you that if your representative in Belgium wants to execute a contract with India, a year back, he would have to travel to India because he has to get the necessary stamp duty. But today, he can execute the document sitting in Belgium with a stamp paper procured from an Indian state government. So that's the kind of flexibility we get to our platform. But to answer in brief, your question is that yes, initially anything new we do, there'll be a lot of resistance, but we have to see that what kind of problems the solution gives. And if that solution is good, I think that solution will gain acceptance. It will take time in the initial days, but yes, if that solution solves the problem, then it is likely to gain acceptance.
This will be my final question. We are just 2.5 minutes. Captain Achat, to you, it will be also the closing remarks. As a leader in industrial engineering, what is your view on how legacy industries can transition to more tech-enabled, sustainable business models?
I hope this is not being recorded. There are two
we will erase it.
Problems that we normally face with. One is, of course, the legacy machines per se, okay, which we can deal with it. In some way or the other, we could deal with it, but there is a legacy thought process. That's actually the challenge. So when we are able to deal with that, the first one becomes a lot more easier. So that is where the challenge, I think it was spoken about in one of the earlier sessions, also about leadership. Talking about people have been doing this for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, they don't want to change. So that is actually the problem. So once they realize that in a usage of technology can actually bring in the kind of returns that they're looking for, which you could otherwise throw 4 people into it. But you might actually have to spend 5 people worth of money on it, but your returns are going to be much, much faster. So if somebody is able to understand that mathematics and explain it to the management and more importantly the board, then I think everything will fall in place. And then the accountability has to be put in place. So that's probably the only way that we could handle things. So 2 legacy problems that we got to handle, one easier, one a bit difficult.
Wonderful. All right, Ms. Sagar, any closing remarks? We have 1 minute.
My always is, in case of technology, we always are feared of technology. You want to make it complicated. My advice or my suggestion or my mantra has always been simplify. Even the big elephant in the room, artificial intelligence, we all look at it as if it's going to take away our jobs. Simplify it. Use artificial, rise on the back of technology, use the human brains to create a fantastic combination. We have that. West can only use artificial intelligence because they don't have people. And they have to depend on AI. And let me tell you, generally it sounds good, but AI is not a solution at the moment. It's at a plateau. It needs a lot of training to become useful for more than asking routine questions. In my business, we find it very, very dangerous to use AI. But time will come, it will be useful. So what we have to do is look at AI, but to that, add the superhuman that we have in India to create an unbeatable combination, right on the back of technology.
I'd just like to say that sustainability is extremely important, and it's important because our planet, we have to save our planet, and time is fast running out. We have to do everything possible to ensure that we live a sustainable way of life. And one important point here is, sometimes, it is said that reuse, and in India we have a long tradition of reusing, recycling stuff. But somehow the new generation with new technology, we change to replace our technologies, our laptops, our mobiles. So I would suggest that let us think twice before we are going in for that new gadget. So instead of reuse, just see whether we can keep using.
Right, okay. That was it. Maybe a round of applause for the panelists. Thank you for sharing your views and keeping it to time. Thank you. Over to you, Aditya.